Hi, just want to make this quick video. I don't want this to be too long. Just two things. One is a trade I took on Friday, and another one is just liquidity points that I feel like market tends to go to often, not all the time, but often, and good places to grab trades and really look for the big move from there. So, first of all, PLTR on Friday. Let's move this to the 1 minute. So we had this big bounce on the SPY after its massive morning sell-off, and that was around 10:15. PLTR 10:15 really starting to go sideways, but also hitting lower lows that are getting bought up with big wicks immediately. So it started creating this wedge. I got interested here on this wedge with a stop below this wick. So I was in. You can see we had this bar, we created an inside bar, and then inside of the inside, and then it broke bullish. That was really my entry. So 120.28, I got in, and my stop here was 119.92. So I was like 36 cents, 2 cents below that low, and yeah, it didn't get hit, went sideways, and then eventually broke. Now, what was interesting is that the SPY actually made a higher low here, and then went, and because that it went, that's really what took PLTR. PLTR didn't have any crazy volume or anything, but over to here, I put in my profit target. I was thinking either VWAP, where VWAP is going to be like 121.50, or just kind of take out that high over here. We have a big, distance between this high and all this price action here. I wasn't sure it's going to break through, but I did think it was going to break through VWAP. I already put it in. The only thing I did when it broke higher here around this side, I said maybe it will reject, come down lower. I just want to trail my stop, so I trailed my stop to 120.61 over here. It was 62, I don't remember, but that's what I did. I didn't want to roll over and turn into a losing trade or break even. I decided to even keep it a small green. If it rolled below that, I don't know where it was going to go after that. I wasn't watching the SPY so closely, um, but yeah, the SPY did show some strength after that. I wasn't really sure it's going to be that strong, obviously. So anyway, that was one trade. PLTR, I really like this wedge and the way it broke out. And I really like the fact that I put my profit target ahead of time with my stop. So whichever was going to get hit, it was going to cancel the other one, an OCD order or whatever it's called. And the fact that I trailed my stop. That's one. The second thing that I've been really thinking about and seeing a lot of examples of is the liquidity points that get taken out before the big move happens. So I think it's a really good example of that would be here on PLTR, no, on the SPY. So, for example, the SPY yesterday, sorry, on Thursday, um, we saw the low of the morning, and the market ran, and then here we're pulling back. Maybe we'll pull up on VWAP or not. But if it's not really VWAP, it's highly likely that we'll try to take out some type of low. There could be a low here on this run higher. That's very very important. But here, this was really the important low where a lot of stops could be, a lot of fear could be triggered, and that's what happened. It took it out, and only then the SPY made its big run. Same thing could happen on the higher side, where you have like a really important high. We take out that high, and only then we're going to roll over. So that's something I've been looking at. Liquidity points. Similar example here, comparing the SPY to iron. We had a higher low on the SPY where IREN actually wanted to take out that low of the morning and only then make its big move. You know, why? Can't you make like a higher low? No, kind of wants to take out more people, hit more stops, create more fear. Now it's a bit hard to know here, like it just kept rolling over, and even here it went sideways, finally up, break even lower, and then go. So it's not always so clear. But realizing that there's important highs, let's say as this is running higher, you'd say, okay, this is an important high that we want to take out. Then probability of rolling over will be much higher once we take out that high. If not, look at the next high. If not, look at the next high. So these are things that I've been thinking about, just knowing that the market really wants to go there, even for a very short period of time, before it continues higher. Let's see if we can find another example of that here. SPY we did. So IREN on the daily. Let's see if that's going to actually load. If not, I'll refresh it. Um, so IREN on the daily. We had this massive run, and it's coming down. It created a low, it bounced, and now you're just kind of like, where's going to be the lower high, lower high? Well, here's another example. It just wants to take out that low, hit that liquidity, and then it really wants to go higher. Same thing here. Well, how about a lower high at least compared to this? Nope. Want to take out the liquidity, and we had a massive bounce from like 29 to like 41. Right. So the big moves do tend to happen a lot of times after certain liquidity is taken out. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a higher low or a lower high before the continuation. Sometimes they can really take it out. This always happens in these tops where you might think it's a lower high and then we're rolling over, but sometimes not. Sometimes it really wants to take it out and maybe even take it out again. Create a lot of people trapped over here. Oh, we're gonna break out, we're gonna break out, and then it goes. So same thing with the breakdown, you're kind of creating a lot of fear, and then we go. And then here it is on a shorter time frame, where it's kind of like we had this important low and we're coming down and we broke. Yeah, this wasn't the big bull run all the way to the top again after we took out that low, but it didn't make anything really significant until we broke this low. Then it decides that it really wants to bounce up here. And then, as we said earlier, this low here once that got taken out. So looking for important lows, important highs, realizing those are likely to get taken out before we get the reversal. I think I saw another good example here on SPCX. Here's actually another one. Really happened in after hours, but this is like on Thursday. Um, we have this low. We're coming higher. We actually take out this low over here, the important low of the morning. We go sideways, and then boom, SPCX just like rips. Don't you want to rip? On a higher low? Like no, let's take all these stops out. Let's hit some fear, and then we get the bounce. Um, yeah, so that idea, I don't know, you could say there's an important high here, and then we finally broke it, and then we get the rollover. You can kind of see how price was manipulated here very short term in order to take out that high and take out that liquidity, and then we really got our rollover. So, yeah, realizing that will happen. On this rollover, I would have said, hey, maybe even take out this low, really go all the way. So, um, yeah, let's say on Friday, sorry, this was Thursday, as you're trading here, you see that's an important low, realize that can get taken out. We have an important low here after hours on Wednesday, realize that can get taken out. And yeah, I do find also that these pre-market levels, if you have something that's like really going sideways and maybe you start taking off, these pre-market levels are really good places to take some off or take everything off because they really want to get taken out very often in case it really during market open it goes. Um, and yeah, on this rollover here, actually on Friday, we didn't take out these important lows, but we did get pretty close. So that's an example where it didn't work out. And yeah, again, something to think about, these highs, these lows. And again, just to finish off with this trade, very clear wedge, very clear stop, very clear wicks that are just buying it up extremely quickly while the SPY was really grinding higher. I could have easily also looked at it as like relative weakness to be like, yeah, if the SPY rolls over, this might roll over even more. While the SPY is bouncing, it's barely able to bounce. It's really going sideways. But yeah, once the SPY made this big move, PLTR had to follow. So yeah, continuing on, I guess, to the next trade.